Let's talk about some quotes. We put this on our Instagram. See, we're talking about the quotes, people. This is what we do. This is what we do. We analyze shit. This is a reactionary podcast. We don't have original ideas. We react.
Yeah. It's very reactionary.
And now we're going to get sued by those React brothers or whatever the hell they are on YouTube.
I wish.
That'd be great if we got sued.
It'd be great just to get some recognition.
It would be expensive advertising. But
it would. It would indeed.
But it would be really good to be sued. I don't know how many people say that, but
no. Hey, if we're getting out there and, getting on some websites or something like that, I'd be all for it.
Other than our own website, yeah.
Comicmoviemarks.com.
Can't even plug. There we go. Ding. So first we're going to talk about Matthew Vaughn. This is Shane's favorite director.
Oh, yes.
Matthew Vaughn has been quoted. He had some interviews talking about Kingsman, the Golden Circle, or some shit like that. Whatever it's called. I forgot what it was called. It's like the Circle of Truth or some shit. I don't know. The Circle of
I don't really care, so.
Hacienda.
No, I'm not even going to try to do Elton John.
I was doing that earlier. I was thinking Rocket Man because we were talking about Korea. Anyway. On a side note. So we're going to talk about Matthew Vaughn. Recently was quoted. He was interviewed by Collider, by Steve Weintraub, or whatever they say his name. It seems like Frosty or Whitey or Milky or something shit like that. He's a very pale white guy. And so he's got some kind of nicknames. I don't give a shit. But recently he was quoted and he was asked, because as I put in our social media, on our Instagram and Facebook, I think this one posted too. I'm not sure because sometimes my shit doesn't post to Facebook.
Yeah, I think it did. I think we got a like on it, maybe. I don't know.
Probably. Dislike. Can we get thumbs downs on Facebook? Can you get a thumbs down?
You can now. Yeah, they have different emotions.
About time.
Yeah.
At least we'll get some interaction then. If we can get a bunch of thumbs downs, that would be perfect.
Yeah, something.
Little thing. I'm actually getting, because the more we do this with social media, I think I could become an article writer.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
You pieced that together pretty well.
Yeah, no, this was great. Right here. And then, so I put on our social media, entering that shit show known as the DCEU rumor section is Matthew Vaughn possibly directing Man of Steel 2. During an interview, Vaughn was asked by Steve Weintraub if he were to direct a Superman movie, what would his vision entail? Shane, I think you want to read this one, don't you?
Sure.
I want to hear it in your voice. Especially the ending.
Am my excited voice?
Yes, I want you to, especially the ending. I want you to really give it your A game on that ending.
All right, hold on. We're waiting for some stuff to load here.
Oh shit! My bad.
Shitty connection
on the spot.
Usually I would bring it up, but this time I was just waiting.
He's just sitting back and staring at me. Like, all right, fucking read it already. No.
So Mr. Vaughn says,
"Mr. President."
Mr. Reed. Weirdly, if I did do Superman and I made the mistake of telling someone yesterday, I have spoken about it, and then Wallop laughs.
I'm sure that's how you laugh.
Yeah. I think my main take would be, it's really boring, but I love how that's fucking in there. Hold on. All right.
This is all direct quote. I listened to the interview. This is exactly how he says it.
Fucking. I can't even get through it. It just amazes me that it's in there. It's really boring, but make a Superman film.
Oh,
I just don't feel a proper Superman. I think Donner did it to perfection for that time. Just doing the modern. I want to do a modern version of the Donner version. Go back to the source material. For me, Superman is color.
Woo!
Feel good.
Yeah.
Heroic.
Ooh.
He's a beacon of light in darkness. And that's what I think Superman should be. Was that my A game?
Yes, that was beautiful. I felt the passion. I felt the cringe in your voice.
Oh my gosh. Fuck. Once you say, I realize it's boring to do this version of Superman, like, just stop there. like, come on. That's why even
WB's going to get behind that. I was like, what the fuck? When I read that, I was like, it's honest at least, I guess. Give him some fucking brownie points for that.
I have something that I'm going to bring up once we get into the Superman Lives part, but it's Nicolas Cage almost had the same feeling of like, oh, okay, if you were just going to fucking rip off the original, then fine. Then I'm not the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and it makes me laugh that, like, I don't know.
I put in our Instagram post, and I put, sorry, Matt, that's called Superman Returns.
Right.
And I put a couple little shocked faces with, like, I don't know, purple heads.
Sweating. Yeah. I think they're like worried, sweating, like, oh my gosh.
And I put, I'll leave everybody that might agree with this quote. And I put down a quote. The quote, do you want to read it, or do you want me to read it?
I'll read it.
I think you might like this quote a little bit more.
Yes. It's from Lord Snyder himself.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yes. He says, the thing I was surprised about in response to Superman was how everyone clings to the Christopher Reeve version of Superman. How tightly they cling to those ideas. Not really the comic book version, but the movie version. If you really analyze the comic book version of Superman, he's killed. He's done all the things. I guess the rules that people associate with Superman in the movie world are not the rules that really apply to him in the comic book world, because those rules are different. He's done all the things and more that we've shown him doing, right?
And then I forgot to put this in the end of our quote, so I'll read the last little part of it, because I missed this part. But he continues with that with one last little sentence. It's just funny to see people really taking it personally, because I made him real, I made him feel or made consequences in the world. I left the best part out on accident. No, you gotta slow clap it. There we go.
We tried.
Yeah, we're out of sync. We suck at that. We're right across from each other. We couldn't even sync it up.
We're like trying to eyeball it. Like, all right.
I can't see. The mic was in the way. I couldn't see your hands.
Our big ass microphone.
This big black thing was in my face, so I couldn't see it.
Sorry, immaturities.
Yes, very big immature. I don't know. I think Snyder. I really want someone to disagree with that quote. I really want to know what you could be thinking to disagree with that quote, because if that quote isn't
to agree with it.
No. I want
to disagree with Zack
Snyder's quote.
Yes,
I really want to meet someone that can disagree and say he's wrong.
Yeah,
because I want to meet that person and kick him down a hole. No, I'm just kidding. Fucker. Forgot about that.
Yeah, that's going to be a thing now.
You got to call them fuckers.
Yes, exactly.
Douche nozzles.
Thank you, detective. You just helped us with our little gimmick here.
Yeah, well, yeah, we got our sayings, trailer trash, the trailer trash one. There's no shame in that. And so now we'll add
it's
to the
fuckers.
Now on our t-shirt it'll just say fucker.
That's
quoted the detective
with the comic book bubble in the background.
That'd be great. Just
fucking, fucker. I love it.
We should change our name to that. Fuck comic movie marks. Trademark that shit. Fuckers.
Fuckers.com. I'm sure that's already a domain name.
Yeah, I was about to say, we might get a totally different. That's going to be a hard one to fight for. Man. I don't think we have the money to win that one.
All right. So my honest opinion, and I could be way off base here with Mr. Vaughn's quote, is I feel like he is just, he's saying this to get some backing from people who hate the DCEU. And I've started to see it. This was before, right when I read the quote, that was kind of my feelings, and then I've started to see it, so it's kind of solidified and just showed an example of that's exactly what people are doing. Anyone who has hated the DCEU, who has hated Henry Cavill / Zack Snyder's vision of Superman, has been like, oh yeah, I can't wait to say that. We actually had a guy who commented.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna read. I'm gonna read the 2 diversive comments that we got on this thing on our Instagram, because it's the only 2 comments we got. But they were opposites of each other. We had our lone diehard DCEU guy, Sephiroth or whatever his name is here. If that is his quote, I'm not sure I'm feeling it. I don't mind the beacon of hope and stuff, but don't try and change Snyder and Cavill's Superman. It's literally the best one ever.
Yes. Well put, Mr. Sephiroth 413.
Yes.
So then the other guy chimes in. His handle is DC_Marvel_others. He said, "This is great. I have a feeling he will do it right. Sounds like he understands the character. Ralph was good, just not his movie. Ralph was a Superman, and he was supposed to be like Reeve in that movie. Taking what Routh was and putting him in a good movie, but with someone who looks like Superman better than every previous actor works for me. So I'm assuming he's saying, okay, if you take Henry Cavill because he looks the part like Superman better than anyone else, and you have him act like Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
Because that's essentially what Brandon Routh was doing. He was not playing a different Superman. He was playing Christopher Reeve.
It was literally set as a sequel to Superman 2.
Yeah.
It ignored Superman 3 and 4 like they never happened. And it was the sequel to Superman 2. It was in the Christopher Reeve verse.
Yeah.
It was that. And it was just a direct remake, and that's what he was trying to do.
Yeah. It's just a nostalgia flick, and I disagree, obviously, shocking, with DC, Marvel, others that's Superman done right. It's a version of Superman. But
yeah, it's one version of Superman done right.
Yes, but not all of them, and honestly, I'm getting. I don't know if it's like the anger in me or how much I really love the Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, the Snyderverse version of Superman, but I'm like getting myself further and further away from the Christopher Reeves, Brandon Routh version, and because I don't know if it's because people are like, I'm comparing the two and kind of like weighing pros and cons. And I'm being forced into this, because,
reactionary.
Yeah.
That's what this
it really is. And I'm going, no, they have this, they have this. And yes, Christopher Reeve played an amazing version of Superman. But to stick to that, it just blows my mind that that's what people want over and over again. Matthew Vaughn says that's fucking boring.
Yeah.
Okay, not fucking boring, but he says it's boring. So he is automatically going, oh, I know it's kind of boring. So why do it? Why is that your vision? How about take a character and add your own interpretation to it,
right?
And help it evolve a little bit
instead of rehashing one,
right? Over and over. And
the one thing that really annoyed me, it seemed like he was so misinformed and unaware of the source material, because he's like, we're gonna go back to the source material and we're gonna make a Superman movie. Man of Steel is a Superman movie.
Yes.
It's just not the one that you would prefer.
That's why you attaching the Zack Snyder part was so perfect, because that's like Zack Snyder almost talking to
back
Vaughn.
to him. That's his answer back.
Right. Saying like, no, that's not the source material. That's Christopher Reeve's version, or,
Dick Donner.
Dick Donner's version of Superman. And it was great for the time.
And some other dick for Superman too. It was Richard something.
It's still Richard Donner, and then it
there's
changed
some dude
to
that dude that took over at the end or something.
I think
because they filmed most of the second
Yeah.
one, but then he took over at the end. It was like, starts with an L. Richard Leeson, whatever, dickhead.
I thought it was. I don't remember. I don't know.
We could look it up.
Yes, but
fuck it.
We don't do that.
No, details
are and names.
Details only matter when we're passionate about it. I don't give a shit about who directed a quarter of Superman 2.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, yeah. So I don't know. I really do feel though that he's just trying to get some support and saying, hey, and I really hope that now he doesn't direct Superman.
Oh God,
or Man
no.
of Steel 2. If that's the route that he wants to go, you're gonna fail, and you're gonna go backwards from what has already been starting to be established, and kind of the direction that Zack Snyder has said he wants to go anyways. To that point. I don't think he's gonna go quite as campy. Obviously, he's technically killed Clark Kent, already. But I feel like Snyder is eventually going to get not quite to that campy version, but he's going to have a lighter Superman, one that people recognize a little bit more. But there's a lot of stuff.
But still dealing with real world issues.
Exactly. And there's a ton of stuff. If you look at the first two Superman movies, the first four, there's a lot of like really campy, kind of weird stuff that happens, and they make up powers, him throwing his ass, him flying, turning the world backwards, and it spins back time.
Rebuilding the wall of China with his eyes.
Yeah, yep, exactly. And then he has a kiss that makes Lois forget that he revealed his secret identity to her. Like, just all these things that...
Nails are his kryptonite.
Well, those are pretty sweet. I'll do that again. But, and so it's... People forget about all of that, and the stories are pretty good, but they're just okay, in my opinion, if you're looking at the story. Man. What the Richard Donner, Christopher Reeve version was, it was a stepping stone and into something that, like, people talk about the first poster that was released for that. You Will Believe a Man Could Fly. And it was something, it's kind of like Star Wars. You know, they did things that were untapped in the movie world.
Revolutionary at the time.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Revolutionary. That's a perfect word for it. So that's what people are holding on to. And now that we're into something else, like the characters have to evolve. And I can't wait till we get into the Superman Lives, portion of this. So
one of the things I almost kind of want Matthew Vaughn to make this movie just to prove to those fucktards that think that if we just made like a Christopher Reeves version, it would be great. And I bet you it was done. It was done with Superman Returns. It was done, and everybody hated it.
Yeah.
Well, not everybody.
No,
but most people, it was either meh or disliked.
Yeah.
There was very little people that said it was great.
I wouldn't even go as far to say it was great. I can really enjoy it for the nostalgia, for what they were doing.
And there's some cool scenes in it.
There is, yeah.
You know, he's taking the gunfire, the plane. There's some good moments in there.
Yeah,
but then it just turns into stalker.
Right.
Mountain
a
thrower.
lot of the stuff that I like is what they incorporated from the originals. And I think, and people don't even, I remember after that movie, after Superman Returns came out, talking to so many people, like randomly, a dude at GameStop. I remember going into this conversation where he's like, dude, that movie was boring. It didn't do anything for me. I'm not a Superman fan, and it failed at trying to make me a Superman fan. I don't remember how long the conversation was. It was probably like my entire lunch break. But I
never got to eat.
Yeah, but I remember specifically having a conversation, and that he's not the only one. Yeah. There's a ton of people that looked at Superman Returns and was like, dude, that was not good.
And how many times have we seen where Man of Steel, people say, this made me start liking Superman again?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
And people that were saying, oh, he's just a Boy Scout, he's boring, you know, probably people that don't read a lot of the really good Superman comic books, and I don't blame them. You know, they don't really know that other side, and then all of a sudden they see the other side put onto the big screen, and they're like, oh, holy shit, there's actually some depth to Superman. And actually Tim Burton was gonna talk about that as well. You know, he's going to touch on
Superman
that.
Lives. Jesus Christ.
I know. I can't wait till we get into it. I'm ruining all my arguments for that.
We should have started with that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding.
You know, Matthew Vaughn, I think, is a great director. He's made tons of good movies that I really like. X-Men First Class, Kick-Ass, the Kingsman movie, the first one, I thought was really good.
I haven't seen Kingsman.
Oh, it's great. The ending, oh man, the ending is one of my favorite parts. When the Swedish princess promised...
Spoilers.
Oh yeah, spoilers for the first Kingsman.
Yeah.
When the Swedish princess or whatever promises the guy anal if he saves her, it's fucking hilarious.
What's happening out there?
Aren't you that princess that went missing?
You can't get me out.
Well, if I do, will you give me a kiss? I've always wanted to kiss a princess.
If you get me out right now, I'll give you more than just a kiss.
No! Sorry, love. Gotta save the world.
If you save the world, we can do it in the asshole.
I'll be right back.
All right.
And he just nods and just takes off and saves her, and he goes right back to her little cell or chamber or whatever.
That's fantastic.
It's awesome. It's great. Best part of the movie right there.
I was excited when I first heard that. I don't think he's been confirmed for anything.
No, but he did say he was in talks.
Yeah. So, and I was excited at first, but if that's, I hope that
maybe he's joking.
Yeah, or he's just saying like, this is my vision so that people support him, and then he's gonna change. I don't know. I hope someone has control, whether it's Zack Snyder, it's probably not, but someone with Warner Brothers, Joss Whedon, whoever the fuck the other guy, the main, not Joss Whedon, but the
Jeff Johns.
Jeff Johns, yeah. I meant Joss Whedon too, like, you know, if he starts stepping into a role. But yeah, Jeff Johns, if someone has control and they're like, okay, we've been down that, we're establishing something here with this universe, let's continue with it. I hope that that's what they do. And if they do that, I have no doubts that Vaughn can make a great movie.